Hello, welcome to my vlog. For those of you who aren't that familiar, vlog is sort of an abbreviation for video log or video blog, where I talk about various aspects of my life. My name is Danny, and today is, what's today? Let me see here. Today is Tuesday, November 29, 2016. It's 6:32 p.m. Well, so I just wanted to talk about a few things. So, first thing is, notice that cool poster in back of me. Well, I've actually been having a few problems with my posters. It's kind of funny because as you know, on my previous vlog, I talked about I went to that poster sale at the university, and they had all kinds, and so I'm sort of new to buying posters at that university sale, so I just bought a few of them. I bought one which was just a normal sort of paper one, and then I sort of just bought two hologram type ones. Now, the hologram type ones are kind of neat because, as I said, they're holograms, so it's kind of neat to see different angles and stuff, but the hologram ones also are sort of made of a plastic or a heavier plastic, which is good because they're more durable and more resistant, so they won't like rip as in paper or something like that. But what I've learned over since I bought the hologram plastic ones is they're quite a bit heavier than the normal paper ones. And so, for example, the one that I have in back of me is a Paris one, which is a plastic hologram one. It kept sort of like just falling down. And I was sort of trying to figure out how to deal with that. So it's kind of interesting because sort of the new thing is that instead of using like tacks, which can sort of put holes in your wall, and if you ever live in university residence or university dorms, the newer thing is that they don't want you to use tacks because it sort of ruins their wall, and they kind of even go further and say if you use tacks, they're going to fine you. So they kind of recommend this thing called soft putty. So I decided to go to Staples and buy some soft putty, which is, I actually have some here. Let's see here. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. So a few weeks ago, I went to Staples and I bought this. This is sort of what soft putty is. And so it's kind of like a, it is just like as its name. It's like putty. It's like kind of a plasticky sort of dough. And so I put that on the various posters that I had, the normal paper one and then the plastic one. And then it worked fine with the paper one, but I noticed with the plastic hologram ones, they sort of just, the poster just fell down. And so I was pretty disappointed for that. And so I didn't feel like going all the way back to Staples, and so I actually used duct tape. And for everybody that knows, duct tape is a very strong tape, and disappointingly, again, the plastic hologram ones just fell down. Couldn't believe it with duct tape. And so, trying to avoid like using tacks because I don't really want to ruin the wall. So today I went back to Staples, and there's so many different like products that you can buy, but this it's sort of this type right here, where it's kind of like two. You stick two of them together and you Velcro them together, and then the other two are like sticky sides, and you can buy like various durabilities. Like this one is like says like I got the heaviest one just in case, so this one says like holds up to 16 pounds, or then you can get like lighter ones too, like maybe like holds up to 8 pounds or holds up to 4 pounds or whatever. And so I I just bought a few of those, and yeah, so I've just a few minutes ago I used them on my Paris one, which is in back of me, so hopefully this works. I'll update you on my next vlog. While I was there, I actually also bought this. So this is sort of like I also have I have a university diploma that's sort of like collecting dust, and so it's kind of nice to display it somewhat because I'm sort of proud of it, and I went through the trouble of paying quite a bit of money to frame it and stuff like that. So I kind of like to display it a little bit, but it's because it's framed, it is heavy, and it's metal and glass and stuff like that, and the way that they framed it, there's like a big wire cord on the back of it, but I'd have to, like, if I wanted to use it that way, with the metal cord, I'd have to like push a nail through the wall, which isn't very good for the wall. So I'll probably like end up using like one of these, and hopefully it works. It says like that it holds 7.5 pounds. So yeah, I actually like decided to buy another one too, because I was thinking maybe like I could use it for a towel or something. And yeah. So anyways, the next thing that I wanted to talk about was soccer. So I had a soccer pickup on Saturday and another soccer pickup on Sunday. I was disappointed on the Saturday one because hardly anyone showed up. And not only is that difficult to make a game when nobody shows up, but the employees at the works sort of gave me a hard time because they noticed that we hardly had any players, and they came up to me because they found out that I booked it, and they warned me that they have a policy of if you want to book a court, you basically have to have 10 or more players, and if they see that you don't have 10 or more players, they can just not allow you to play at all. They can just not allow you to play at all. And that's a very complicated sort of thing. I generally don't agree. I generally don't agree with it, for many reasons, but in a way I can sort of understand why they're doing that, because for them it just happens too often, and people who book it are irresponsible, or in the way that they book it, or their group is just lazy, or whatever, and they don't bother show up. So that those bookings could have been used for people who really want to use it, and so that is kind of a waste. And that's sort of what I wanted to talk about, is that on Saturday, when hardly anybody showed up, that got me thinking, because I had decided that, well, since this year's indoor season started, I've noticed that the numbers were rather low, and then they were rather low at the beginning, but then they sort of built up and they kind of got a little better. And so it went from starting with one game a week, and then I saw the numbers were getting better, so I decided to add kind of 2 games a week. So 2 games meaning, more recently I had like 1 game on Saturday and 1 game on Sunday. The week previous, when I did the Saturday and Sunday, it wasn't too bad, but on Saturday, when hardly anybody showed up, that is a problem. When on Sunday, we did have enough players for a full game, and we didn't need any subs. So, I mean, the numbers for Sunday were good enough to play a full game without subs, but we just had enough, sort of. That's another way to look at it. And so my concern is on that Saturday. So really, the Saturday-Sunday system just doesn't work, because really we only have a small number in total to begin with. And so what's happening is that if I post that we're having a game on Saturday and Sunday, most of you, the mindset is that you guys will only want to play like once for the whole weekend. And so you'll just pick one of the two, like either Saturday or Sunday. But so what will happen is that out of all of the people in our group, which is a small number, if most of them are just going to pick one of the two, then that small number is going to be divided into 2 groups. And because it's already a small number, what's happening is that we basically don't have even enough players for either games. On Sunday, we just barely had enough, and Saturday, we didn't have enough. So the Saturday-Sunday system just is not going to work, and I'm changing that right away. It's disappointing, because I was kind of looking forward to like having a like 1 good game on Saturday and then another good game on Sunday, because 50 minutes or so a week is not very much. So to have like, especially if there were subs, so to have like 2 games like back to back, which is just those 2 games a week, that would be pretty good. But you guys didn't show up on Saturday, so that has changed. I'm thinking really the only way to do it is either like 1 a week, and then if I see that the numbers are legitimately better, add another one. So maybe like one game on the weekend, and then another game during the week, like in the middle of the week, so that and to make sure that both of those games are spread out. So like 1 game on the weekend, and then one game on the weekend, and 1 game on like a Wednesday. So that's sort of my update on that. It's kind of interesting because kind of a funny story where on Saturday, so we did sort of just kick it around a little bit, and this guy, well, like he sort of just on the weekends he just sort of just throws basketball hoops by himself in the basketball court, and so sometimes in the past when we've needed like an extra player, sometimes we'll ask him to play, and so we kind of know him for just a little bit, but he's never really played soccer or anything like that. But when we're desperate for players, and so sort of just before like we were about to leave on Saturday, I saw him like kicking like we were in the green court, and he was kicking the ball like it was my soccer ball, so he was kicking my soccer ball like this was towards the end before we were leaving, all the way to the ceiling. Okay, so number one, why would you kick a soccer ball all the way as high as to the ceiling of the green court? That's stupid. And number two, he kept doing it repeatedly. Now, why would you keep doing it repeatedly? And number three is that there's very visible high bars up there, and almost like another little level where it's kind of like almost these other floors, and so the ball could very easily get caught up there. So why would you keep doing that repeatedly? Because the ball is obviously going to get stuck up there. And so as I was just before I was about to sort of go home, he comes up to me and he goes, I got the ball stuck up in the ceiling. So I was pretty mad, right? You know, he seems like a nice guy, but that's just stupid. And in all fairness, he's going to have to compensate me for that soccer ball. And so what I had to do was I had a game already booked for the next day, which was Sunday. And so right away, I had to like go to the store and buy a new soccer ball because that was my only one. And I wanted to talk about that a little bit because I haven't really done very much shopping for soccer balls, but that market has really changed a lot. And it's kind of like weird because when I grew up, sort of, because I consider myself more of a serious soccer player, you know, the more serious soccer balls that you play in an official game are more like leather based, because that sheer sort of leather feel to it, it's just more of a legitimate touch. So when I went on Saturday and I was looking to the store on Saturday and I was going through all of the soccer balls, it's just weird how the market has changed. I found that like most of the soccer balls are and I went to a pretty good store. Like I did not go to, you know, a Walmart or anything like that. So this good store mostly stock like rubbery type balls. And so these rubbery type balls, they sort of remind me like when I was like in elementary school, you know, those rubbery balls that the teachers always give you for recess and stuff, that you just kick off like the walls and play on like dodgeball. They sort of give you those rubbery balls because like they won't hurt you, and they're just stupid, right? They're for kids. But it seems like for some reason like that's like the norm of where soccer balls are going. And even if I watch like the higher levels, like the UEFA, even 2016, it seems like they are using those rubbery type balls. And also too, other balls too that also mostly have is those plasticky ones. Again, like those plasticky ones remind me of like when you're a kid and you go to kind of a cheap place like Walmart, and you buy those cheap balls because they're plasticky. And I saw so many of those that are being stocked at stores, and it seems like that's the only ones that they're stocking, and for some reason they're even using them at the higher levels like UEFA and FIFA and stuff like that. It's just really weird. So, anyways, I was lucky because there was only one of these left, and it is in Adidas Tango Pasadena. Yeah, so the official size 5. I'm no expert on soccer balls, but I carefully examined all the soccer balls, and for me, this was the best one there, because it does have more of a leathery feel, definitely more than the other ones that I just described to you. Although I'm not familiar that much with this ball, although people say it's a very popular ball, and it's been around forever, the Adidas Tango Pasadena. But I guess in the past, when I've played with it, again, I was a little skeptical because it seemed a little bit on the more plasticky side. But we played with it on Sunday, and it's pretty good, actually. I mean, if you feel it, it still has that leathery sort of feel, and it doesn't, when you are kicking it and playing with it, it doesn't really have that plasticky feel like that is sort of like childish. So it's got sort of a soft touch to it, and it's not too hard, not too soft, and it's kind of I don't know, it's, if I could describe it, kind of like a sexy sort of feel to it, right? So I was kind of lucky that there was only one of these left in the store, but kind of glad because I just didn't feel like going to the other stores. It's just too. I don't really like shopping in the first place, and so I just didn't feel like having to go to those other stores too. So I'm glad that there was one of those left. Next thing maybe I wanted to talk about a little bit was the numbers a little bit of like my soccer group, which I'm a little concerned about. Our last indoor season, our numbers were really good, and just the past outdoor season, our numbers were excellent. This indoor season, our numbers have been rather low, and so the only thing that I can really think of is that it just seems like the number one that there's just too many soccer groups in our community, right? You have like the Chinese group, you have the Jordanian group, you have the Iranian group, you have the Bangladesh group, the Spanish group, the Tasmanian group, maybe the African group, and so forth. You have like too many groups, and they're being all dispersed, right? And so that's one of the reasons why I think that like where all of our players have sort of gone, they've gone over to their own little groups, because indoor soccer can be pretty anal, where for different reasons, people tend to like to use groups like that for social reasons, to be with their own ethnic groups or to keep the numbers low, but in doing so, they're going to not let people in, and so people are going to feel a little discriminated against or outcasted, right? Another thing that I also wanted to talk about was what I noticed last indoor season, and I was kind of a little mad about, was I would sort of try to recruit people in, which is not a very easy thing to do. It's not easy to recruit someone. It's not easy to go up to a stranger and start talking to a stranger and develop a relationship with that person to the point where they feel comfortable, like joining your soccer group or playing with your soccer group on a regular basis. That process is a lot of work. It's a lot of time and it's a lot of energy to happen. And it doesn't always happen because not everybody sort of wants to sort of be recruited into your group. And so when that happens, I would like to really retain those and have some sort of loyalty. And what I would notice is that these same people that I recruited into my group, I would go out and I would see them playing with other groups. And so they were kind of poached or kind of stolen from my group. And I would wonder, like, where are these people gone? They're not playing in my soccer group anymore. I don't see them anymore. And so they were kind of stolen into another group, and I can just assume that what they were probably doing is that they probably Facebook messaged them and just asked them to play, and just through a Facebook message because they didn't really know them either, right? And did it like that, and just through a Facebook message, poof, people that I worked so hard to recruit are sort of stolen from me just like that. That's not very nice. And so number one, it's not nice that those other people are going behind my back and stealing players from me like that. And number two, it's not nice that I was nice enough to let you into my group, but then you sort of just turn your back on us and just leave us like that, right? I mean, that's just pretty shallow. Like just over the summer, I would sometimes go out into different parks and fields and pitches, and I would meet I remember meeting one guy, and he was playing he was just playing soccer all by himself, right? Just himself on a whole soccer pitch. And he was just practicing drills, and I went up to him and I started talking to him, and he was like, I'm just practicing some on my own, and he told me that he just couldn't find anybody to play soccer with. And there's a lot of people who tell me that, because sometimes it's hard to find people to play with. And I was nice enough to sort of let him into my group, and we played many great games over the summer, and I've done that. It's the same story to so many players, right? I didn't have to go up to him and let him into my group, right? But I was sort of just trying to be nice, and he could have, had he not have me offer that to him, he would have not had all those great games all summer, which we did have, right? And I have a lot of that happens a lot. And so again, I'm sort of reiterating, but in especially in a story like that, where I'm so nice to someone like that, which I don't have to, and then someone behind my back from another group goes and steals them, or that person sort of just decides to say screw me, I'm going to go with another group, which I sort of let him into the whole system in the first place. Because I think what happens is that that's how these other groups sort of steal people from me is they see us playing, right? They see us playing games like in the community, right? And they kind of even pick and choose a little bit as to like, is this person good enough? What's their skill level or whatever? And they scope them out a little bit. They pick and choose, and they see them playing in my group, and they don't really pick everybody. And so if I wouldn't have let you in to my group at all, you wouldn't really have like all those options, right? So you'd probably be still kicking the ball all by yourself, on a pitch, which is pretty bad. So yeah, I mean, I didn't really want to have to talk about these things, but because on Saturday when I go through all the trouble of booking a court, and it's not really an easy thing to do, and a court like that is not to be wasted, and then kind of hardly anybody shows up, I have to sort of figure out what's going on, because my precious time is being wasted. And so, but anyways, that's sort of just that's just some of the things that have been on my mind lately. So hopefully, things can improve. So on a better note, yeah. So, for those of us who are in university here, yeah, like this is already the last week of classes, believe it or not. This fall semester has just gone by like so quickly. It's just crazy that we're already in like the it's so crazy that we're already like in the last week of classes. And so I just hope that everyone does well in their exams, gets good grades, good final grades, and sort of is really successful. Yeah, I'm sort of just noticing that my Paris poster in back of me, and it's just such a nice poster. I just love it. Yeah, I've never been to Paris, but it's one of those places that I'd like to be. But anyways, I think I'm going to end it for now. So I am going to post our next soccer pickup pretty soon, so keep checking. Yeah, thanks for watching. Really appreciate it, and keep keep sending me questions through AskFM. No, I'm just joking. I don't use AskFM. No, I kind of like follow this other vlogger, and she's just amazing. But one of the things that she does is, I mean, she does a lot of different things in her vlogs, but one of the things is she answers questions through AskFM, and that's kind of a neat thing. But anyways, yeah. So I'm just gonna wrap it up, and as I said, thanks for watching, and talk to you later. Bye.